Thank you. Tomislav Krasnic, Večernji List, Croatia. On Hungary, Hungary has built a fence or a wall to EU member state Croatia, and I wonder if the Commission has anything to say about it. We know that President Juncker in his State of the Union speech said he believed fences and walls do not have a place in Europe today, but fences and walls are being put in place in Europe today after his speech, and does he have anything to say or anything to do about it, or the Commission? And one other thing, there was also the message from the Commission that fences and walls do not function or are not the solution. Well, it seems to be that for Hungary, they are functioning just fine, and they are a solution, because Hungary experienced a drop over the weekend in number of migrants and refugees that are entering the country, dramatical drop. So can you please comment on this? Thank you.
Okay, I'll have a general comment, and then I call Natasha on the Hungarian, Croatia, Slovenia equation. As a general comment on behalf of the Commission, I think I can reiterate something that we have said here in this press room, and the President said it publicly many times, that we are not interested in this finger pointing and the game of blaming each other on specific aspects of the refugee crisis. We are convinced more than ever, we have always been since last May, that we need a comprehensive European solution that all our member states can back, and that can show that Europe can respond as a union to all this. Our proposals are on the table. We are very happy that on the basis of our proposals, substantial progress has been achieved. We work full-time, 24/7, for the remaining issues to be addressed. So we won't come into very specific figure pointing and shifting blame game. We prefer to make this work. This was my general comment, and now Natasha will take you to the border side of it.
Yes. So on the controls at the Hungarian border with Croatia, in a letter that we received from the Hungarian authorities on the 17th of October, the Commission was informed that Hungary had decided to increase controls at its border with Croatia. Hungary does not, in fact, need to notify us of this, as this is an external Schengen border, Croatia not being a member of the Schengen area, and member states having the responsibility and the prerogative to manage their portion of the external border and the means that they choose to do so. We understand that all border crossing points remain open, but that there are increased controls at what is called the green border. More generally, as you rightly say, and as we told you this weekend, the President already made clear his political position on walls and fences between EU member states when he said in his State of the Union speech on the 9th of September that I believe that walls and fences have no place in an EU member state.
Yes, on the same territory, thematic territory, that is.
Yes, hi.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we know what President Juncker said in his State of the Union speech, but it does this still stand? Because after his speech, after he said he doesn't believe in fences and walls, over the weekend, fence and big wall has been put in place. So his statements look a little bit weaker. Why should anyone trust him? Thank you.
Okay, I don't have to add anything else to what I just said. Yes, please, give us another perspective.
Hi, good morning. I was wondering if the Commission is working to a new resettlement scheme, and if the 200,000 that UN is asking for is a possible number to look at. Thank you.
Natasha, on numberology.
That's a new word. The figure of 200,000 does not come from the Commission. As you know, the Commission has already said that we are, and we do intend to come forward by March 2016 with a proposal for a structural system on resettlement. This comes on top of the proposal for a recommendation on resettlement for 20,000 people that we already have, and that was adopted by the Council, surpassing that figure to bring it to 22,000 for until the end of 2016. So we said within March that we're coming with a new proposal, but at the moment no numbers have been discussed even internally, as we're still at an early stage of preparing this proposal.
Yes, please.
Yes, hi, Natasha Petra Miklos from Slovenian News Agency. I have a couple of questions on the Slovenian aspect of the refugee crisis. First, could you tell us what Commissioner Avramopoulos talked about with Slovenian Interior Minister? And second, you're saying that EU should act in a coordinated way, but obviously the action of Slovenia, Croatia, Austria is not coordinated. How do you comment on what's going on there, given different expectations of different countries? Thank you.
So Commissioner Avramopoulos and his office have indeed this weekend been in touch with the relevant ministers in Slovenia, Croatia and Hungary, and what these calls and the context of these discussions was the Commission trying to encourage these countries to cooperate on the management of the borders between them. As Margarita has already said, we need a common European approach to the management of migratory and refugee flows into Europe, and the Commission has been working on this since the beginning of our mandate. More specifically, I think you know that Croatia and Slovenia are bound by the common European asylum system, and what we are trying to check now is the extent to which the measures that are being undertaken in all three countries are compatible with these rules and proportionate to fulfilling the spirit of these rules as well. We are also reminding member states of their duties under the rules, notably when it comes to fingerprinting and registering new arrivals.
Agustin.
Yes, Natasha, you mentioned few countries reminding them on the obligations, but you didn't mention Greece. It seems that most, if not all, of those refugees coming through the Western Balkans, Croatia, Slovenia, they have entered the EU and Schengen in Greece first. Do you have any information from Greek authorities whether they are registered and fingerprinted there? I'm asking you this also regarding the figures that Frontex is giving, because there are some experts saying that maybe the refugees are counted several times entering different countries of the EU.
Well, as you know, the Commission is working very closely with Greece and precisely to assist Greece in registering and fingerprinting all of the people that arrive. This is the very intention behind the hotspot approach, and why we are setting up migration management support teams in Greece in up to 5 hotspot areas. Commissioner Avramopoulos with Minister Asselborn was in Lesvos on Friday to witness the setting up of the first functional hotspot area in Lesvos, where we have agents from Frontex and from the European Asylum Support Office working alongside the Greek authorities to ensure that when people arrive, they are registered and fingerprinted and put into the system, which will also either, if they are not eligible for asylum and there's a return decision given against someone, that they are effectively returned to their country of origin, or whether if they do prima facie qualify for asylum, that they are channeled into the relocation mechanism as this gets up and running also in Greece. So yes, we are aware of the issues, and we are paying particular attention to Greece, which is why the President has also appointed Martin Ferve to go to work in Greece on the ground with the Greek authorities to ensure both that these systems are put in place and that we can also reinstate Dublin transfers back to Greece and restore normalcy to the situation.
Yes, please.
Hi, hello, Erika Štuler from Slovene Radio and Television. Slovenia announced somehow that it will not take more than 2,500 persons per day. Is that okay? What's your reaction to this number? And you said that you reminded these countries to respect all the rules. Do you have any signs that Slovenia did not follow all the procedures regarding registration and other procedures that it should? Thank you.
I think there's not really much more for me to add from what I already said on this. We're following the situation closely, and we're working with all of the member states concerned to make sure that there is order maintained in the system. You know what the rules are under European law, and you know the exceptional circumstances that we're in. So we are doing our best to work with the member states to ensure that before a common European approach can truly be lifted off the ground with our relocation and hotspot mechanisms, that in the meantime we manage the situation in an orderly and effective manner.
Okay, let's follow up, but let's try now to round up this chapter.
Just one more question. Hungary announced over the weekend that the temporary border controls on the border with Slovenia. Do you have the first assessment yet? Thanks.
Yes, so over the weekend, Commissioner Avramopoulos spoke with the Minister of Interior of Hungary, who informed him about the intention to reintroduce temporary border controls at the border with Slovenia, and indeed we also received a formal notification via letter to this effect. So this is the triggering of the temporary border controls under Article 25 of the Schengen Borders Code for an initial 10 days that can be extended by a renewable 20 days up to a maximum of 2 months. So this is in the same situation as we also saw Slovenia, Germany and Austria. We will be sending shortly a letter to the Hungarian authorities, as we did in the other cases, to request further detailed information, and we'll also inform the European Parliament of this as per practice. And then we intend to issue an opinion assessing the necessity and proportionality of these measures, taking into account, of course, the replies that we receive from the Hungarian authorities.
Yes, please.
Hi, Natasha. You have said that the 17th of October, the Hungarian government has sent a letter notifying the close down of the borders. I want to know also if you have received explanations demanded to Hungary about the migration law, taking into account that, if I'm not wrong, this week expires the deadline. From the legal point of view, what would happen if the Hungarian government wouldn't reply to the explanations?
So this is it's a separate matter indeed. The new Hungarian asylum laws, the Commission did send a letter on the 6th of October to the Hungarian authorities to request a clarification. They had 15 calendar days from then to reply, so that deadline has not yet expired. So I'll get back to you on the if scenario, when and if it transpires.
Okay. Thank you, Natasha. Let's move on. Any other subjects we want? Yes, Rick, please.
I'd like to come back to